This is Apotheosis, the official podcast of the Production Designers Collective. I'm your host, Alexander Whittenberg. Today, we're joined by production designer Jean-Vincent Puzos, whose credits include Amour, Jungle Cruise, and The Lost City of Z. We chat about the exchange of creative energy between a director and designer, the subtle authenticity of his work on Amour, and his plans for the studio of the future. I also have him share one of my all-time favorite early career design stories that paints a great picture of Jean-Vincent's imaginative sensibilities. Please note that due to the demanding schedules of those in our industry, these conversations are recorded in a nomadic and remote space, which may lead to inconsistencies in quality, but we'll always do our best to deliver a great listening experience. If you've been enjoying Apotheosis, please consider taking a moment to rate the podcast and share with those who might also enjoy the program. And now, here's my conversation with Jean-Vincent Puzos. Now, do you have your wine?
I'm sorry, but I'm working, so I have my juice, my green juice. I would love to have the wine, but I have no wine. But I will share with you.
Okay. What are you working on? Can you tell us what you're working on?
Yeah. I'm working, I was supposed to I began a movie for Apple with Balthazar Kormakur, like Liminal, and the movie stops. And I was in Paris, and Olivier Dahan, the director of La Môme, Piaf, you remember this movie with the big success of Marion Cotillard?
Yes.
And he's doing a period movie about Nana. Nana is a famous novel of Émile Zola, the writer, the 19th century writer. And it's a very beautiful, very sad story, a very tough story about a young girl who is raped and prostitute and actress and died at 19 of syphilis. So it's
a romantic comedy?
It's exactly, very romantic comedy. And so anyway, I'm designing this right now because immediately it was like that. The passion of the guy and the fact that it's around theater and plays and old Paris in the 19th century. And the fact that now the type of period movie in a turning point where you have the AI and the VFX very quickly done, where you can afford to have visual effect and extension and in another way. So suddenly with a budget quite small, you can have the ambition to do something very original. And I began to design something interesting. And it was extremely exciting to have the freedom to say you don't have enough money to do a classical period movie. So now let's try to be radical, because the movie is beginning with a voiceover. So I asked him that if it's a voiceover of Nana who died, of course, in the end, and it's a process of telling the story of the girl is commenting his life, she had a very intense life from 12 to 19. Dying at 19, and she's talking. So I say, let's be extremely radical, and let's not use the landscape of Paris and the street and the type of period movie has to be completely different. Let's do pieces of things like memories, and it turned into a factory of 120 meter long, where I'm designing the longest and biggest set of theater of 2 plays mixed together. And in the play, I'm putting the movie. And you see the movie through the different angle of the theater. And it was very interesting because it was not, of course, in the script, because in the script, it was a very classical period movie where you go in the street of Paris in 1967 and you take a carriage and you go to the Sénat, and after you go to the theater and you come back and you talk, and you can't afford this because you have no money, or you don't do the movie, or you do a movie like TV movie, or you try something. And like I connected with Benoit Deby. You know Benoit Deby? He's a very good French guy who is doing harmonic movies. He did Irréversible, and he did many like all the Gaspar Noé movie. And he's doing a lot of indie movies in the States, and he's extremely powerful for abstraction and colors and being not afraid of being quite radical. So together we are working on like a process of using retro projection, stain, like Chinese the black shadows, like to tell stories with different perception, and it's completely with your subject of creativity, how you deal with creativity, how you look, you analyze a pattern, and you decide to transgress the pattern and to go in another direction to arrive where you have a wall, you destroy the wall. You go inside and you go through, and suddenly it's a new world. And the director has to be like very extremely brave, because it's not in his zone of like, because he's at the same time he's powerful, but in a classic way, but he's trying things, which is why he called me, and I was surprised because my last movie in Paris was like 15 years ago. So but it's very interesting because it's like now we will jump into the shooting in March. So it's like models, it's like visual design, and the fact to use a factory, to turn the factory into a stage, to shoot where I'm putting stones, streets, like candelabra, like I'm turning this into a very, very strange, abstract, without trying to be like Mishima, like you remember this movie of Friday, or like the Coppola movie, very beautiful, I like, with the neon, with the city, Las Vegas and everything.
One from the heart.
One from the heart. It will be more a mixture of like a kind of detailed movie, like kind of like old Murnau, Fritz Lang, like and we are shooting in like the frame, like the square, like close to be like 4/3, like so it's very, very good for not old fashioned, but more photographic, like skin texture, like architecture, like the core of the architecture, because you work on verticality, horizontality, but you don't try, when you have like now the very large scope or super scope or Vista Vision or blah blah. It's so many 70 millimeter, 95 millimeter, 126 millimeters movie of 5 hours and 700 minutes.
There's a scrappiness though that I think is fantastic, and also you've just answered what would be my first question: what does creativity mean to you? Because I think it's about telling a story and having a team that's brave enough to work together, take a risk, and do something new, and approach the story in a way that is achievable within your resources, and ultimately probably more poetic and inspiring as an end result. I'm curious, were you trained in the theater or architecture? What brought you to production design?
It is very simple. I study architecture. I'm a trained architect, like with diploma, with a master. I did a degree in landscaping. At the same time, I study Oriental architecture because I was like in the end of 70s and beginning of 80s, I was really interested into the feng shui, but not the feng shui for glamour and for how to to dress your bedroom and everything, and how to turn the page of the beautiful book.
Right. But spatial relationships.
Exactly. Spatial, like the what is positive, what is negative, the organization of the space, the sun, the water, the wind, the soil, the green. And it was really, and I'm coming from like a family from the south of France. like Spanish. I'm like my family came from the Civil War in Spain, so I'm like I was not. I was a sportsman. I I played rugby and tennis, so I was not in the art. I was not connected to books, to piece of art, to museum, to art gallery, because it was nothing except rugby, and that's my background. To be brave enough,
Uh-huh.
brave enough to handle the jobs. But
Yeah.
after when I turned like student, like I decided to do architecture because I was really into like building dam when I was kid, when it was raining a lot, and I was like, my first occupation was to build dam to compress the water and to have
Yeah.
different shapes of dam. And in the end, the architecture plus passion of how to build, to find the balance. I have to be extremely simple, but at the same time, not to be afraid of having shapes very, very powerful. And the connection between the outside and the inside, like the Japanese concept, so many concepts was so interesting. So for me, it was like almost obvious to go in architecture or theater or movies. And I was passionate by image, and I turned really like by luck, I did my first job directly without being art director. My very big power and very lack of technique, and even after 45 years of work, is I never been art director. I don't know now I learn by
Mm.
law of doing movies and working
Yes, yes.
abroad. But at the beginning, I was working like a builder, like as a thinker, as like everything is, you can do everything. You have to be brave. You have to break the limits. You have to create bridges between concepts. You have to, okay, we study pattern, let's change or let's be different. So
Mhm.
when you begin and when you're lucky to have a job. My first job was a Vietnamese movie in Vietnam, and I built a village, and it was my first job of my life. And I designed directly a Vietnamese village in a chocolate factory in Paris,
Mm.
where I designed two dams to create a movement of water and a village inside a dam. And it was a very beautiful movie, Dust of Empire. And it was my first job. And suddenly, when you discover that you are born to do that, you
Yeah, yeah,
enjoy it.
yeah.
It's like playing with Lego and building dam in the mud. It's exactly okay. It's for me. And I succeeded to avoid, and not because I was like extremely arrogant and like I don't want to be a director, but I was
Mhm.
not connected to the French business of movies. So after I waited months and 1 year, and I have no other job. So I was quite interested into maybe come back to architecture. And
Yeah.
I was lucky a second time, like one day arrived a Japanese company with a friend, one of my oldest friend, like Ken Kamura, who was the first assistant of Kurosawa. And
Mm.
he arrived in his pocket with Issei Miyake, Yoji Yamamoto, and Rei Kawaboko, like Comme des Garçons. And suddenly, my second job was to design like fashion show for these guys and girls. And I turned into commercials, and that's why and I began to learn the rules. And
Yeah.
as soon as I saw the rules of the movie business, you like the funny thing. So you build the set on stage like that. I was like, oh my God, what is this? This is very, very old fashioned. I had the impression to be in the 18th century or 19th century. And they were saying, you do this like that. When you do a set, you oversize everything. I was saying, why? Why it has to be too big? It looks like a set. Yeah, but no, it's to help people. I was saying, okay. And
Mm.
everybody was giving me advice, and all the advice they were giving me, I was feeling that maybe I don't have to follow that. So that's why I like, but not again. It was just because I was feeling that you have to follow your instinct, and
Yeah.
the creativity will follow. And if you have archetypes, patterns, like you mix, like the way to break some rules, you have your memories, you have your passions in terms of architecture, literature, movies, and everything. And suddenly you discover how easy it is to be creative, how
Mm.
easy it's to feel the different lines and boundaries, and how to cross. There is borders where they say, don't cross the border because your job is here. And as soon as there is a border, I want to go and I want to travel. That's why it's funny with your question because you connect creativity with travel and
Yes.
memory, and it's exactly the the rule number one is to be open and
Yes.
to receive and to give to people. And when you travel, when you are optimist in your way of meeting people and guessing that they will give back things, you travel and you learn. And I travel so many times. I
Mm-hmm.
work in
Mm-hmm.
so many countries that the idea of having very young, when I was 23, first movie, 24, 25, the Japanese guys, they learned me. I was at the same time strong, like a good student, but they were so
Yeah.
better because they were real Japanese. And me, who was passionate by Japan, it was just, oh my God, I'm not
Yeah.
a Japanese. And it's really the reason for me to suddenly being always positive and feeling that I will always find job. I don't have to try to be another one. I decided to be me, to accept my
Yes.
weaknesses and my strengths, to know that I'm weak in some directions. But if I find a friend who is good, but he will share with me the adventure and all the lack of talent I have for different things, I know how to meet, how to choose, how to decide who is good for me. And I
Mm-hmm.
create, even if I arrive for the first time in South Africa and I did one movie, then two, then three, then four, then five. And suddenly you discover that you learn from the country, you learn from the team, you learn from the organization of like, and
Yes.
even with the political problems, you suddenly you grow because what you have as problems in France compared to what they have there, it's like suddenly you are in political vibes. It's like suddenly changing your
Uh-huh.
life
Yeah.
and more job everywhere, but you begin to be less impressed by producers and directors and financiers and people who decide for you what you have to do, who hire you, and where you have to. Now I'm like, I'm afraid of nobody for the rest of my life since many,
Mm-hmm.
many years, because I'm just like sharing things and pushing to go in the good direction for the projects. And the good direction of the projects are respecting people, using people with their qualities, listen to them. And after it's like a pleasure, really a pleasure
Yeah.
to bring things together.
You lean into the intuition, right? And
Yeah,
I think there's something amazing about you coming at film from a place of not knowing the rules that probably really shaped, who you are as a production designer. I think if you don't know the rules of the world, the filmmaking rules, let's say, then you're automatically inclined to take more risks and kind of lean into what's right for the story, because I think one of the dangers of the rules is sometimes you get too locked in. People can get too locked into the way it's supposed to be, and then
yeah,
you miss out on great creative opportunity. Whereas I think there's great value in either not knowing the rules or learning the rules and then knowing when it's okay to throw them away. uh,
exactly.
because that is so much of what the great films, with the great art, with the great designers and filmmakers, uh, thrive on, is that idea of following your gut, following your intuition, and you don't need you don't need to check these boxes of what each what
Yeah,
each
yeah,
thing is
exactly.
supposed to be. And I
Exactly.
also think with you not having come up through what is sometimes a common route, which is you start early on in the art department, maybe as an assistant, work your way to set designer, draftsperson, or assistant art director, and then art director before designer. But it's so funny, designer and art director have little in common, and yet they're so essential to be linked together as a partnership. But it's two very different jobs, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's true. And at the same time, when I explain that, it's like it doesn't change the rule number one, which is you are working with a director who is supposed to be passionate, and when he's
Mm-hmm.
passionate, you are listening, you are bringing your talent and your skills and your passion, and you are like you are the best partner when you are not obedient, when you are not afraid, when
Uh-huh.
you are like, what do you want, what do you need? I hate when like it's supposed to be what do you want, like and a normal director is looking to you like but I it's your problem, it's your give me ideas, give me strengths, give me like give me the temperature of where we can go and be
Mm-hmm.
brave too, like before me, and me I will use you, and you will provide ideas. And of course, I had so many good experience in my life of directors who were interested into the like the childish freedom and the passion I put, like a big big dog going everywhere, like yeah, like let's do this, come on boys, like Sex Pistols. And it's like yeah, but at the same time you have the respect when you know that you are working with people who did so many good movies, and you are lucky enough to share a new adventure, and you have always the respect. If I respect the people in Bulgaria, in India, or in South
Mm-hmm.
Africa, or in Colombia, or Brazil, or everywhere I shot in other country, I of course respect like directors and producers who are in the same mood than me, respecting my team.
Yes.
Of course, when it's not like that, I'm the worst tiger I can fight with in a metaphorical way with production, to be sure that everybody is respected and everybody is doing things in a very good way. So that's why it's like it's not just in a way where I try to be extremely original and creative and everything. It's like it's giving the power to be peaceful when you create, and to be sure that you don't lose 1 millisecond when you have the feeling that you have to go in this direction. You go, even if it's not the first one you predict for this type of project on everything, but suddenly everybody is like sparkling because, oh my God, you try something and what you try is interesting. So let's go, let's follow you. And you feel that everybody is following you. So I like to be sure that when I have a good idea, there is an army behind me to let's enjoy, let's have passion, and let's do things.
Yeah, yeah. Lean into that. Lean into
Yeah.
that. You shared a story that you called some time ago, the first moment of real creativity.
Yes, it was very funny to see that you want me to you want to
Are,
be
if you could,
you want me as a comedian, like you want me to tell the story of Meredith Monk, and like
I
one of the
do,
first.
because I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. And it is that I've thought about that more times than I care to admit since you shared that story on set. When I'm working on a project, I
Yeah,
often think of that story because and you'll share it in a moment, but it's to me it's all about again leaning into intuition and choosing something unexpected to solve the problem that can be right in front of your eyes, but you have to know how to look for those moments of the
Yeah.
world telling you this is what it
Yeah.
needs
Yeah.
to be. So please tell us a story.
The story now is like I feel that it's like a joke I have to tell for for every wedding party. It's your
Oh
wedding.
no.
So I will tell you the story. No,
Well, you'll come
maybe
to my marriage. I'm getting married in March, so you'll come and share the story with everyone, right?
with joy. I will come.
Okay.
I will come. So it's very simple. I was very young. I was not speaking English. I have a bad English, very Frenchy English. But when I did this movie, I was extremely, extremely basic and primitive. And I was just an architect working for the Japanese. And she chose me because I was designing the Issei Miyake fashion show. And she's an artist and she's very clever and smart
Hmm.
and musician. And I had to do a movie. It's her first and last movie of Meredith Monk, a feature film, and it was Book of Days. And
Hmm.
I had to build in the south of France, in Bastide, which is a fortified village in the mountain, very beautiful. It's a Templar like place where the Templar were born. So it's like a very, very, very like 11th century and there is very old architecture, anyway, I had to build a plaza. So it's like a Moyen Age, like a
Yeah.
very like 12th century, 11. And I built a market and a plaza with like cardboard, like a plaster, like a very, very cool design. We worked for 2 months and she arrived maybe 2 days before the shooting because the shooting was
Hmm.
very long in England and in Germany and in France. So she arrived in Paris. Then me, I was in the south of France finishing the set. We were close to dress the set. And she arrived
Yeah.
the day before the shooting. And when she arrived, she was her personal assistant and she began to cry. And she was like, no, it's,
Oh.
it's not my set. I don't feel it's the good set. And I was so first, I was like just stunned and then extremely worried because my 45 guys and girls were behind me, like trying because they were not speaking at all English. Me, I was guessing that she was frightened by the set and she was not loving the set. And it was like a pain because when you have a set where the director is refusing to shoot and she said, I don't want to shoot tomorrow. And suddenly I discover the reality of the movie business because suddenly the American producer who were extremely friends and they are always my friend, but they arrive to me and they say, Jean-Vincent, she don't like your set, so try to find a solution. I say, but it's a 2 months construction set. I don't know. There's something specific to say. No. She don't want, like, she want to go to the hotel and she will come back tomorrow at 7 o'clock. And bye. And you have the thing you have many times in this business. You are alone. You have to decide something. You don't know what to decide because you are completely dry. You said, no, you are so surprised. I was not into having experiences. And I send my team to the best restaurant and I say, I will maybe need you if I find a solution or bye, we will be sacked. And end of the movie. And I spend maybe 1 hour together sitting in the middle of the market, looking at my beautiful, but not so beautiful, apparently set. And
Mhm.
I was like, oh, it's impossible to change a set in one night. And after a very, very hard moment where I was shaking, I was like, my God, I'm so young. And I was so young. And suddenly I found a solution. I decided to first to go to the fire brigade
Uh-huh.
to find if it was like all the firemen free to spend the night with us. It was a countryside. It was a long time ago, so it was not very okay. What do you need? I need you as a support because I will burn the set. And they say, what? I will burn the fucking set. And I came back to my team and I brought all the guys and they were like, half drunk because I say open bar, so you can drink what you want because we will be start. It's your last day. And suddenly I was so excited, and I say, let's bring all the tools to do fire,
Oh, yes.
for the welders, for the thing. Everybody bring everything, and we burn, and we ask to the fire brigade behind us to put the water and to. So it was burning. Everything was burning. Everything was stopped in the burning, but burning a little bit, smoke everywhere. All the village were looking at this strange where like guys worked 2 months in the small village and suddenly burned the set. It was like completely incredible, and we were really high, like on drugs. Like it was
Yeah.
excitation. And in the morning at 6 o'clock, we finish it. We finished to. The set was completely burnt black. It was extremely beautiful, and we had my set decorator had a few white horses for
Of
the
course.
dressing of the market, and we we put in position just before 7 when Meredith Monk arrived, the white horses, and suddenly the American producers and Meredith Monk arrived like we will kill this bloody French, and they stay in front of the set, and Meredith Monk cry like say, "Oh, this is exactly what I want. This is so beautiful." And it was suddenly I was like, oh my God, this
Oh,
is
gosh.
insane. So it was so funny. And after, of course, I did all the movie. I went in London and in Germany, and it was a story of the Jewish community in the 12th century. Anyway, and it was like suddenly I was the good production designer. The set was like extremely beautiful, but extremely burnt black,
Uh-huh.
and it
That's
was a good lesson for me.
it's amazing. It's amazing. And I'm sure you and the team had a good old-fashioned drunk that night to celebrate.
Yeah, but it was this team. We were friends for the life after. It was my friends who we did maybe 15 movies together because
Yeah.
it was like you bond, you look at each other with no light, just the fire. It was like a movie. It was so cool. So you add your story, darling.
Thank you. Thank you for that. It's fantastic. And actually it's kind of a wonderful film too. Because I looked it up after I first
Yeah,
heard you
yeah.
share that story. And nothing to set the tone for the rest of your career quite like that, right?
Now, yeah, because it's like you have always the impression that you can solve all the problems. It's a matter
Yes.
of like feeling your decisions making process when you work for people is you have to guess where they try to create trouble when they
Hmm.
search and they don't find the idea of what will happen the day of shooting, and
Yeah.
you know that you are a partner at the same time. Sometimes they use you to create a mess. They breathe a couple of days. There is tension. And I work with many type of directors like that, like Michael Haneke, like Andrzej Zulawski, like who are extremely talented, extremely strong, and they are using the bad vibes to
Hmm.
lead and to create. And when you are not afraid of bad vibes, and when you stay extremely peacefully in front, and the you are able to control and to destroy the bad vibes very quickly, and after they listen to you and they say, okay, let's try your idea, and let's finish this like that and that. But it's very helpful because it's for when I was teaching, and or when I do master class, when I try all the time to say to the young production designer, young art directors, or who want to be designer, or you have to be brave. You have to never, if you have an idea and you believe in your idea, you have to fight for this. And after, if you, if really you feel that you have the strength to go through all the moment where everybody is trying to, you are too expensive, you are too different, you don't follow the rules, you are not period enough, there is always something which is wrong when you're working and
Yeah.
designing freedom. And when you know why you are going this direction, after it's so easy to bend immediately, because in the balance you feel that maybe I will have to fight, and sometimes you want to fight 1 day, 3 days, 1 week, but you don't want to fight 6 months, because it's terrifying to think that your professional life is just a life where you can be humiliated, or fighting for surviving, or
Yeah.
fighting with your team, or it's not your team, it's a production. So it's like, since day one, I decided to be tough, funny, good, bad, but a human being, and to listen. And
Mm.
I listen to you. You have to listen to me when I say something. This is a deal. And after, it's like, you can shape the feeling. You can find a language, like
Yeah.
a formal language, an artistic language. And after, everybody is going in the same direction. And you are the one, like, on the on a movie, you are the first one hired. You do the location scout. You give the tempo for what could be the budget and what could be the size of the project. And there is people arriving after you, and you are the one who is always the, why are we shooting here? Because why you choose this valley and this mountain and not this one? Because, yes, okay, you're right. And how do you feel we can shoot here? And suddenly you discover that you are the axe of everything: the light, the shooting, the weather. You are the
Hmm.
weatherman, you are the landscaper, you are the gardener, you are the advisor, you give ideas, but at the same time,
Yes.
you are giving flowers, you are shaping mud, you are doing golem after golem after golem. You are
Yes.
you are creating you are creating, like, personalities. Suddenly you turn, like a standby prop into the hero of the movie, because it's taking care of the set and he's bringing ideas every 2 minutes, because
Hmm.
you give him the power to talk and to behave. And suddenly you discover that you are like, between a shrink, between a doctor for shapes, for because most of the time, as you know, we are shaping the script. We
Yes.
never had the credits, because we could be executive producer for maybe an 80% of our movies, because we are reshaping the rhythm. We are talking about, of course, script, but we go in another direction. We can explain how to use a shape or a shadow or a stain somewhere to tell a story, and which is not in the script. And suddenly you enlighten the director, and he's like, yeah, let's try that, and it's good. And you help all the time the DP to be good. And if your vision is strong enough, with so many image and so many things, you bring tools, books, piece of movies and everything, you give you under the respect of the DP, who is stronger after your input of feeding you with information. He will go directly to his best choice to do the best movie. So when you discover that we are like that, to put oils in every engrenage, I don't know what is the name in English, but the click, 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 like
The mechanics.
the mechanics, you have this talent when you are production
Yeah.
designer. So suddenly you feel comfortable for the, because when you arrive, there is always something to fix. So,
Mm.
hey, where do we park the car? And okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, it's really important to find comfort in the discomfort, isn't it?
yeah,
Because there's a lot of discomfort, especially when you're starting out on a project, a whole world of problems to solve. But
yeah,
approaching that with this kind of bravery, to use a word that's been thrown around quite a bit today already, and optimism of knowing that you're not going to know the answer right away. You have to discover it together.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, that is the key. Because if you're thrown off by the discomfort of not knowing, then what's the point?
Yeah. What's the point? And your journey through project, you are every designer has a journey. You meet like a director will be your pivot, like will turn you into a more like a sharpest designer, or like suddenly it's always a meeting with shaping you. It's like mentor after mentor, and suddenly you are not 23, 25, so 28, 30. Suddenly you feel that like there is no more mentor, there is just
Mhm.
equal people, and you listen to them, they listen to you. But even it's like when we share a conversation, you bring me things I learned with our conversation right now. I'm telling you stories, you remember things, you reshape. I reshape your personality, you reshape my personality, you analyze, you want to know more about that and that. You know that if you push me in this direction, I will be like a flying saucer. If you
Well,
go in
yes, it's an
so,
exchange of energy. It's an energy
exactly,
exchange. Yeah.
exactly. And
I,
and if you're sorry,
no, please.
no, it's you.
See, this is the thing that I don't like about not meeting in person is there's always a slight delay, and it's like
Yeah,
we can't quite, you know what I mean? It's like we
yeah.
both
And I
have so
don't.
many ideas.
Yeah, because you like to talk, but I like to talk too. So it's like
Well, you
it's
have to
not.
be an endless well of ideas as a production designer. So
It's
when
true.
something gets thrown away, nothing is precious. Here's a new
Mm.
idea. As this doesn't work, here's a new idea. It's like the constant flowing of thoughts, bringing them from the inside to the outside. Going back to that Meredith Monk story real quick with the horses, using
Yeah.
those horses as a piece to sort of like really set the tone for when the director and team arrive on the set. Do you have other ways of setting the tone, like through smell or anything? Something I like to do sometimes on a set, if the director is seeing it for the first time, is I'll arrange a certain scent and aroma that we can fill the space with to help sort of not to make up for anything that's missing in the set, but to help complete the energy of the space and the tone of the environment, connecting the smells emotionally to the space. I'm curious if you have any other methods like that to help kind of just create the overall space besides what just the camera is seeing.
No, but it's true that I'm using this too, because when you do like kind of classical sets where you want to be sure that when you enter, like in the set, for example, when I do a kitchen on stage, I like to be sure that the kitchen, like I have one guy or one girl from the art department who is almost the last week cooking every day, because
Okay.
the kitchen is smelling like smelling the good cook, the good things.
Yes, yes.
And when you enter in a set where you you are surprisingly like feeling that it smells like home or something very friendly, it doesn't connect with the script or with the things, but it's just the fact that it's so good, and you feel the reality of our job. We try sometimes to be extremely creative and abstract and radical and different and beautiful, and sometimes we try to be undercover agent, and you do sets who are so real, so well done, that the smell, the scents, the perfume in the bedroom, when
Hmm.
you lay on the bed, you feel that someone sleep in the bed, and there is perfume on the wardrobe, and it's so important. And it's, for example, when I did Amour from Michael Haneke, which is a movie extremely powerful, and where
Yes.
every detail, the set was so like complex to design and to build because it challenged me about you are imaginative. I don't want your imagination. You are talented. I don't want your talent for every creativity. I want to be banal. The banality is what I want. I want to be old like my characters. I want to be so real that we feel that we are in a real house and not on stage. I want to add what we see through the window perfect. I want to blah, blah, blah. And suddenly it challenged me so in a very strong way that, of course, I enjoy and I say, okay, I will do like, I'm not, I'm extremely interested into your movie because an entire movie in a set, it's something you have to avoid to be boring or bad because we will see the texture, the color, the aging, the light will be, if it's fake, it's terrifying for the director and the movie. I had an idea because the principal actor, Jean-Louis Trintignant, was old and sick and he was moving really, he was shaking, like it was hard for him to find the balance. So he was grabbing furniture. So we built an elevator for him because the apartment was on platform and it was very high because of the street in the back to have like perspective effect and everything. Anyway, it was very, and I asked to my mechanical team to be sure that the elevator will be perfect and work. And when I visited for the first time with Jean-Louis Trintignant the set, like 1 week before the shooting, I had a set of key and we put like a reel to close the door and everything. And he arrived. I say, come with me. We took the elevator. So he was very happy to go without going to the stairs. Like he was like,
Yes,
oh,
yes,
I
yes.
have an elevator, but it's for me or for the, I say, but it's for the movie, but for you too. And I give him the key and I say, like, you will discover your apartment. Everything was closed. Everything like, and the light was working. Everything like a normal. You push the button, the light of Darius, all the tools were connected to to the interrupter, or I don't know what
Yes.
the name. Anyway, and he was so. And I did another movie with him 20 years before with for Enki Bilal, the designer, the comic designer, and he was a lead actor. And he said, oh, Jean-Vincent, you remember we worked together? And I say, yeah, go in your, go, enter, turn the key. And he opened the door and he was like looking like arriving in my apartment. Like he went to the library. He looked at every book was so precise because Anneke was challenging me. So I don't want library like in where you buy books by the meter or the like by kilos. I want the smart things. I want like think of
Yes.
the
And the
character.
whole Deutsche Grammophon CD collection and records.
Exactly. So
Yes.
of course I hire a friend who is a passionate of music and everything, and
Yes.
it's a girl, and she spent 1 month and a half to buy, collect, design, visit many artists, many old teacher like pianist, and it was so. And the week before, I had Anneke analyzing everything. He was grumpy all the day. Till he finished the set, I said, good job. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, thank you. And he was grumpy again and thank you. but Jean-Louis Trintignant, the smell, the detail, the key to enter the set, the books, the medication, the real medication on the bedroom of his wife in the script. And he was looking, but you put everything like, yeah, I know, like Visconti, like the famous quote of Visconti. And anyway, it's very, when you take care of everything for actors, for directors, for the mood, and it's really,
It's
at
really
that moment,
powerful.
Yeah.
It's about human connection, and it's sort of this unspoken secret of the production designer is operating on that level where you're never going to quite see that as an audience member watching the finished film, but the
Mm.
actors are so impacted by those little details and those choices that you made to give him the key to have the tea, brewing in the house, that performance is ultimately affected in many ways by those little details and those choices.
Yeah.
And it does affect the film. And I have to let you in on a secret that I actually watched the film again this morning for
Yeah.
breakfast. And I had to stop. I had to stop. I could not make it through the film about a
Yeah.
half
Yeah.
hour before. It's a very, very um, emotionally draining film.
Yeah.
But there are some things that really impacted me on this second viewing, and there's a few moments that really stood out. One of them is when she says, "Imagination and reality have little in common." And
Yeah.
then the water by her bedside was a detail that was really striking. It's like the water of life that's kind of slipping away right next to her throughout the
Mm.
film. But then I
Yeah.
wanted to ask about the bruises themselves in the house. There were a lot of kind of like stains and moments of aging. We might say personality in the house, but where the walls themselves have lived a very long life. And the
Yeah. Yeah.
walls of the apartment are suffering with the couple. I was really
Exactly.
struck by that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's like when he explained that in the book that like it was a nightmare in the movie, and
Hmm.
the nightmare like proposed by him was a little bit weak, a little bit strange, and I was not understanding. And we had like an argument about the nightmare, and I was saying, I know that you worship like Tarkovsky and directors like that, and but you need to put water in the nightmare, and the nightmare was more with fire and smoke. It was
Hmm.
smoke everywhere and fire, and it was going into an architecture in circle, and it was like not as abstract enough when we were talking and when I was beginning to design, and I was feeling that it was not the good one. And after we had few arguments, and I proposed to bring the water because the water was exactly what you saw in the movie. I was able to add after like dripping water on the bedroom, like a stain, like to add a couple of like problems in the bathroom where you feel that the bathroom, and after with the scene with the water, very tough scene where she's like like with the nurse and the
Yes.
violence of the nurse, the violence of the water, and when you're naked, and when after she's like using the comb to, it's hurtful and painful, and everything
Hmm.
was. And for me, the nightmare had to be connected, and I had an idea to rebuild the nightmare in the movie to have a slope of
Hmm.
8 degrees and to change the gravity of the apartment. And Darius was bending the camera to control, to give an impression. And
Yeah.
when Jean-Louis Trintignant is walking in the corridor, which is not the normal corridor because I changed the organization of the space for the apartment, and
Yes.
I get rid of the elevator. And it was like suddenly it was like very strange and banal things, but the fact to bend and to fill the corridor with water, when you redress the perspective, the water is going like an oblique, and like in the corridor, you don't see exactly in detail because it's very dark, but the water is close to go to 2 meter high because it's like you put a coin in a box and you fill with
Right.
water. And this idea of water, extremely subtle and extremely, we work after together on how to be not too much when he's using the hand, and to be scary with the hand, like strangling him. It's
Mm-hmm.
another moment of like Anneke. There is always one or two moments extremely powerful and violent and extremely no fat, like you were saying. I don't want fat. I don't want detail too fancy. I don't want to be beautiful. I want to be banal. I want to be in this life of this couple. I want to have the daughter really popping in this world, arriving really like a strange daughter. And
Mm-hmm.
you suddenly, instead of having problems of architecture, problems of like shape, color, and really being extremely unique, you have to bend and to be sure that nobody is looking at you. The set is so, it's so the dreamy set of the director. There is nothing with disturbing him. He has everything. For example, he challenged me for the sound, and of course, when a director challenges you with the fact that when you create sets on stage, the sound when you walk is always the same. There is, you feel the wood, you feel and you have to go layers by layers and felt and many many simple things, and it's very easy to be sure that the floor will have a sound of a real apartment. Is
Absolutely.
just a desire and a money problem. The flooring is costing a fortune because you have so many oak, because I was using real strong oak wood. And when you do 4 or 5 layers of oak wood with extremely thick and extremely expensive, suddenly your banal set is turning like a Star Wars set. It's like producer are looking at you. Yeah, okay. He's very happy, but please, you can do. It's a set. It's just a set. Yeah, but you have to calm your director because he want to challenge me. He want to be sure that I will be the best and the blah blah blah. And anyway, it was extremely tough to do it because it's every day. When you have a guy like Haneke, you have to. There is no big laugh on the stage. It's
Yeah.
serious, and he knows now we will do a 23-second shot. Then you look at your watch and it's a 23-second shot. Okay. I don't know if it's very important, but yeah, good. Let's do it.
Okay. Yeah. It's your work on that film is remarkable, and to know that it's been immortalized in a sense, not just in the film, but also through the painting that our friend Borjana in Bulgaria made of the
Yeah.
Amour set, which I know you cherish in your studio.
Yeah.
I have this, and I promised to Boyana to give for the month. I'm I move in Portugal and I have all my models and plans and personal sketches in boxes, but I will be proud to give her the model, the real model where we work with Anneke, a beautiful model we did before a long time, where we're
Uh-huh.
changing the model till the 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter for corridors, for shape, because it was all the time, I want to turn this. So I had to calculate the dolly, the things, and we were reshaping for just this shot. And can you extend of 1 meter 20, Jonathan? Yes, of course. The corridor, because I want to finish after, I want to think, and I want to be sure that I have enough time in the corridor. So everything was the model is very strange, like the plan, the design she did, because it's real, but at the same time, it's a little bit not so real.
Imagination and reality have little in common, as she said. But the emotion is so important, and sometimes that needs to take the front seat to what it might actually be in reality.
Yeah.
And you don't question it. You don't question it, do you? Because
Yeah.
you're there
No,
with
it,
them. You're feeling this sorrow, this pain, the grief with them.
yeah.
Yeah, but this is, of course, like the big reason is because Darius Kanji, with the DP of the movie, one of my best friend, also he had the pressure to be like as banal, as naturalistic, as like, but at the same time, with I love Wendy Quist. Can you do something Bergman's? Like, I want something very, very, yeah. And he did an incredible job. And if the set, and if this banal set is so banal and so, but at the same time so beautiful, is because when you put the layer, the talent of Darius on top of this, it's like this is the main job after. It's the texture of the apartment, the face, the skin of the two characters, the tough part of the kitchen, of the bathroom with the water, and the violence, just like not all the time on screen, but with the light, he was able to be cold, warm, like elegant, sometimes very depressing, like some morning, because there is so many days, and he organized the light for like seasons, for day, night, the organization of the sun, and in like a real apartment in
yes.
Paris. So it's, and you feel it. That's why you feel that you are in a real place. I did the job, but the main creative genius is Darius, who put the light on top of this, and the light is so subtle, more subtle that we can even. I saw the movie many times, and I'm always extremely surprised by the incredible like connection between the space and the light of Darius. And there is some moment where you feel that you are in a so realistic and real place, with no doubt, with like this day we were trying to have a good weather, but suddenly there is a shadow, and you look at an apartment, you are living in a place where you feel depressed because the light is so depressing, and you
Mm-hmm.
look at your apartment and you feel it's so ugly, it's so
Mm-hmm.
terrifying, and it's not the corridor or the color or the layers of aging who are making the job. Is suddenly the ray of light with arriving like an incredible Swedish, Japanese movie, Iranian
Yes.
genius.
I agree. And the quality of light is something that really, really stands out. And I think, while light is directly related to the job of the cinematographer, it's one of the very most important things for any production designer, too, is always to consider the light and how does the space respond to light and what is the light that fills each space. I
Yeah,
know that light has a lot to do with this idea you have for the future of production design or filmmaking in general, which is this
yeah,
amazing studio complex that you've been
yeah,
dreaming
yeah.
of and developing. And it has everything to do with the light that fills the space. And I just want to hear if you might reflect for a moment on what it is that you're dreaming up for this future, the studio of the future.
As you know, I work a few years on a big project who was shut down by the French government.
Hmm.
And it was a sad story because we were obliged to bring back the money I won for a contest to for research and development, and they shut down a project where I found partners, financiers, and everything. And I spent 3 years, like after a life of design, I did many sketchbook of why I was not like in a good vibe in this place when I was in a country in different like facilities, and every moment I was trying to design something, I was obliged to change the design because the place and the architecture was not helping me to be creative. She was more reducing the. For me, it was like we are working in London, in LA, in New York, in Toronto, in China, in India, in Germany, in France. in the 19th and 20th century. We are in the beginning of the factories and bricks in London, where they're beginning to invent the machine, we
Yes.
always, there is technique. Now it's time to AI, to drones, to new material, to incredible, powerful, tools. And
It's another industrial revolution.
yeah, it's completely, and it's of course frightening for us because we have to think about our positions as a
Mm-hmm.
designer and as worker. Robotics can replace many positions, the talent, the fact that there is no complaint of robots who can work like Saturday and Sunday to finish a set. And if they finish a set, why they are not doing the set? Because they can work. And instead of doing a set in 2 months or 3 months, you do a set in 2 weeks because you work 24 hours a day and you have new material we don't need to be dry. We are connecting in, and sending information, analyzing you can change the color, the temperature, the things just with your iPhone and everything. So when you look at the future, when you look at at the same time, it could be dystopic. Of course, the new stage of the future could be extremely exciting when you decide to avoid to forget that there is people and artists working, and what is important is to go peacefully in the direction of the future instead of trying to be extremely rude and being for the moment, right now there is so many advertising company who are not, they don't need movies. They do now the commercial directly in AI. And so there is now part of the industry of commercial is completely obsolete. You
Mm-hmm.
don't need to be designer. You have maybe one guy or one girl in the agency who is doing the mood board, the things, showing to the client. Yes, animating with AI all the shot and the storyboard in an incredible way, because they create really all the tools we are using now. Because I have a few now art directors who are genius for AI and gravity and everything to do
Yeah.
detail, and it's insane. So when you are architect like me and thinking of since many years, since maybe 7, 8 years, I'm thinking of designing something who could be really changing completely the way to work for our business in every country in a very effective way, without losing the people, being sure that the because no matter which capacity, which talent and incredible power the AI and the robotics have, they need imagination, they need sketches, they need a 3D model, they need things. Otherwise, it's a pain because it looks like all the same, and it's a caricature of what could be art and could be a creativity. But when you are obliged to think that you have to control that, because if in couple of months of years, it will be very painful. You will have now it's the beginning of, when you feel the change when you are a production designer, when you know that when you have a meeting for a casting, you see a director with a script. I saw your movies. You as a production designer, you choose to listen and to be interested by a director because you love his work and you want to work
Yeah.
with him, and the guy want to work with you, and there is a connection where you talk about the project and you do it, you do the project or not, but there is something happening. Now, I did a few meetings where it was so funny because I arrive and the guy has almost a mood board animated by AI, like he did by himself, where you see a trailer. They do a trailer of the movie. where you see the movie. This is are you interested? No. No, I was like, no, I'm not interested. I'm not interested because it's like, okay, this is your vision. The reality is now every guy or girl is a creative genius and producer. Like, can you do a scene like action scene with AI? I'm like, say, but no, it's not my it's not my job. I'm a production designer. I can work. I can talk about emotion. I can talk about landscape. What is the best vision? The best place to do your scene? As you know me, I'm not a geek at all. So I'm like, I'm a designer. I do sketch. I do models. I love that. And I use I have a collection of between 9 and 10,000 books, which is almost 2 shops together of art book, architecture books. I'm spending my life to read, to go to movies. I love that. And the future is not to change that because the kids are changing. So we will have to adjust the way to be interested into an image, to be interested into a book, an art gallery, a painting, because now they are going fast and spending 10 hours on Instagram and having like a chat GPT who is telling what is the story of Nana, like the Zola, blah, blah, blah. Okay, it's good. Thank you very much. So it's scary, of course.
It is scary. Yeah.
The movie business didn't feel that it was time, like 20 years ago, 15 years ago, to take care of the condition of working. When you work on stage, it's cold, there is no light and everything. When I designed the stage, I proposed to the PDC in Spetzes, it was like suddenly we are using new materials, nano materials, and transparent, because when you spend 4 months to build a set, you need light, you need temperature, you need good food, you need gardens, so I put gardens, flying gardens, I put bridges to moving to be sure that all the stage could be 500 square meter to 5,000 when you wish, because the texture is elastic, but elastic with ceramic and glasses and glass. And when you use the new material for good reason, for bringing like more space for the workers, bringing schools, bringing restaurant, instead of having one restaurant, I create space where you have one restaurant per stage, which means that you can have good food, you can have relaxation, because the space and architecture is smart, and because of the possibility of the future, is giving you the possibility to be thinner, lighter. When you have material, we are 10,000 stronger than metal, and maybe 5,000 lighter than metal. Think of the way to build things extremely easily, to have housing, to have like stage who are not now stage anymore, because you can begin to progress with your construction and you can reshape the connection between the construction of the set and the shooting, and as soon as the skin of the stage is smart and is full of it's not even the LED, LCD, like all the type of ideas like that, they will be in 1 year obsolete. And there is new now micro things going in the texture, where you will have screen in the texture of the wall, which means that you can do any creative effect on using the wall of your building, because now you don't have a structure with what the architecture teach you to do to support the concrete or to support the stones and all the way to build something. Now it will be extremely lighter, and it's arriving. And it's funny because it's like the dolly. It's connected. The new material are connected to the missiles, the army, the bad things. So it's like in terms of vibes, it's feeling really really bad to look at the fact that we don't see arriving. We saw arriving the wave, the big wave will arrive, and But at the same time, we are not prepared because all the kids arriving, the young designer are, for example, on this movie now, I had a young girl from school, 20 years old, who arrived, show me her portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
I look at the portfolio, I say, oh my God, are you really 20? Yes. Like she's speaking 5 languages. She's like she's a designer, but she did 3 short movie in like animation, but with extremely talented. She had already a few exhibition for some strange installation of photo, but it's not photo. It's like piece of ice with like image stuck in the ice and everything.
Oh, wow.
And I say, okay, you are hired immediately. Go in the art department. She was like, I want to, but you are at school. Yeah, yeah, but I stopped because I'm bored at the school. She's really, you feel that she began to be extremely attracted by the technology, the thing when she was, I don't know, 14, 15. And
Mm-hmm.
in a couple of years, she's better at 20 than any art director I had. Very, very talented. She's playing with any like Rhino, doing Blender rendering things, Unreal, blah blah blah, and and feeling that it's obsolete and something will arrive a little bit more exciting than that because we can be better. And you feel that this is the good part of the creative because she's very creative. She's
Yeah.
using the tool, and there is other who are not using the tool. They are just using because they are lazy creatively. They are asking to ChatGPT, what do you think of the script? What do you
Mm-hmm.
think of that? What I have to do? So now you have meetings with the guy is repeating like at school, like, do you read Théophile Gautier or I don't know, like,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, because blah, 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 blah. It's like something they repeat from ChatGPT and they have the average level to use a little bit of 3D, a little bit of that. But when you begin to say, okay, now how you want to design, how you want to use a space, how you want to use, if I design for you stage, how you will use the modernity of that. I don't know, like ChatGPT, how to use the stage, transparent stage, moving, flying stage of Jean-Vincent, blah, blah, blah.
It
This is like
enters
a,
a cycle of
yeah,
regurgitation. But
exactly.
and I'm sorry to hear the project was not did not move forward at this time, but I have to believe that
In
there's
France, I stop you in France because I have like 2, 3 connection because there is many countries who are not exactly the countries I'm excited to work with, but they are
Mhm,
extremely interested. Some investment funds, so it's not finished because the idea there is a lot because I was obliged to show my project to kind of investment fund like BlackRock and big companies of
mhm,
financing, very ugly companies, and
mhm,
when you show this, like they look, they do captures, they are interested, and now they know they know that I am in the good direction of like maybe it will be another design because I love to design, and the design was very original and very organic and very like so
very human.
human because I was putting gardens, I was creating backlot with I'm so bored about designing movies where I do backlot with trees and greens, and end of the movie every tree is dead,
Mhm.
everything. So I went to a lab and to a school of landscaping, and I proposed to these people to work with me to like propose an idea for me. I wanted to move to be sure that I have a nursery, a very modern nursery with a lake, with boats providing like and fish and animals
Mhm.
for all the feeling of the food of everything connected to be really like a community, and to be sure that the trees are going like almost like a subway. Like you bring on the backload the trees, they are in position, they can raise because it's a robotic system. I'm using the
Hmm.
robot just to preserve the life of the trees. And after, I have a nursery where after the shooting, the trees are back home.
This is using technology and robotics in a way that is sustaining nature.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I think that touches on something that's really important and profound that the world at large is not necessarily seeing right now, which is the need for tactility, for human comforts, for greenery and life and nature
Yeah.
and the earth itself to continue to inspire us to create something new is always going to overpower the robotics,
Yeah.
because that is the only way forward.
Of course, the only way forward is to be sure that instead of going faster and better and be, it's like the robotics will have to go at speed and for many things, but I I I design a very, I hope, smart system for trucks because we have always trucks and materials and
Hmm.
people and things. So a very smart system of trucks to swallow trucks in the underground, in the core of the architecture and everything. But
Yeah.
above, I put like canals and water, and it was a water system in between stage and not like concrete or things. And I will say, I want for the people working to go slower. So I want to have electric boats to be sure that we have gardens everywhere. And
Hmm.
like when you arrive to your work, when you have like 20, like it was 20 hectares, like 240,000 square meter, which is big and small. In fact, big because it was like 14 stage and 4 backlots, robotic backlots
Hmm.
for many reasons, for the water tank, and for the plants, and for the underwater system and everything, and for construction, very modern construction, to be sure that we can even build sets like you build boats in Korea. I spent a few time in Korea to be sure that I understand what is the future of boat construction, and I put the technology of building boats with just bridges, and this
Amazing.
is, and for the movies, because like in terms of security, you can work in a safe way because you have everything going with like the system, the new system of loading and unloading things and bringing things at 30-meter high or 20. So
Yeah.
it's the way to jump and to move the technology who is doing bad things, because there is so many people, of course, the people who are doing a tough job in the movie business and dangerous job will be obsolete because it will be done by robots, like in my world. And the people, all the rest, and there is a lot of people in the team, will have the possibility to enjoy the place and the technology to be slower. And when you arrive
Hmm.
on, like, I prefer to move, I was explaining, I prefer when you arrive, you know that your truck will arrive in maybe 2 minutes. With robots, will take your material and the material will go to every stage. It will be handled by the smart system of the stage. You will not do that. You will not have pain to take your piece of metal and your boxes, and it will be. And during this time, it takes 1 minute to offload the things, but the system to arrive in it will be maybe 3 or 4 or 5 minutes to slow down and you will do, you will have the time. I put small island for coffee, meditation, like
Hmm.
to slow. Even the morning, you like to have a good moment to have your coffee or your food or your anyway, and everything organized like that. They were saying, but you don't push the guy to arrive faster on stage. They can be faster, but everything has to be faster except the people. The people has to enjoy the smell, the gardens, the things, and when they arrive to work, they enjoy already the space and the stage.
Yes.
And you are better after when you know that if you have a moment where you have a pause of 20 minutes during the shooting, you go outside, and outside the stage there is a river, a small boat for you. Every production has 10 boats to go everywhere. So And when you look at it, looks like an incredible, dreamy land, of course, but a real land where you respect people and suddenly the creativity. And I was saying like that even Avatar will come, Avatar 22 will go in my stage. They will do, because they will be like, they will shoot a Mission Impossible 25 inside this stage, because they will use the stage as a future, anyway.
It's very inspiring. It really is. And I can't wait to see it. And, one thing that the AI robot cannot do is hand the actor the key to go into their apartment.
Yeah. It's true.
It cannot brew the tea.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm really excited to see it because I know it'll happen.
Yeah, but it's like the karma of like our job is to make the people dream. When you design a movie, when you look at the kids when they visit, or students when they visit a set. I was in Australia. I did a movie in Australia. I finished a couple of months ago, and I was close to we had friends from the production designer gathering from Australia, and they asked me to bring a few students, and I did a very big set of a cave, waterfall, and something extremely organic and real, and the same job than Anneke, an apartment very banal. I had to be extremely real for stones, green, water, waterfall, and cave, and canyon, and outside, inside. And the kids, when I say kids, they were 20, 25, but they were really when you look at the eyes of, they want to do the job. They are students of production design, and they look at something where they will do the same and even better, in few years. And I hope for them, because they will enjoy and they were looking at me you are always smiling. I said, no, I like this. It's like I build a big shower. When you look at this, and they dream, and when you look at them, you are it's a good moment when you feel that you give the power to young designer to dream, to do better than, because I was dreaming to be better than it, not better for a strong man. I'm better. No, I will. Yeah, I will. You do an apartment, I will do a building. You do a building, I will do a city. You do a city, I will do a world. No, I will do fucking
universe, galaxy. Yes,
galaxy.
Yes.
My next job will be a galaxy. Yeah, this is how I would.
I love it. I wish we could go on forever, but I think that's a really strong way to end for today. But I hope we can come back and continue this conversation.
We will continue. Yes, of course. No, it's a pleasure.
I'm always inspired by hearing your thoughts, because it puts it all into the perspective of why production design is so much more than what meets the surface level of drawings and set designs and making things quote unquote beautiful. It is about the human element, and I think you, more than any designer I know, really champion that idea. So thank you.
Thank you. Really, thank you.
That brings us to the end of our conversation today. I'd like to give a shout out to my co-producer, Gavin Mosier, and the composer of our original music, Nathan Avakian. As a reminder, if you enjoyed today's program, please consider taking a moment to rate the podcast and subscribe for upcoming episodes. Until next time, stay creative, and thanks for listening.